My name is Sam Otten, and with me, as usual, is Jason Book. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the villains of Suicide Squad. There's some really strong stuff here in terms of the villains, but also some stuff that we thought could have been quite a bit better or is really kind of a weak part of the movie. And so we're going to be talking about Amanda Waller and her role in the movie. We're going to talk about Enchantress and what was going on with her brother Incubus. And then also we're going to talk about how we felt about the new Joker portrayed by Jared Leto. But first, let's start with The Wall, Amanda Waller. So, and sorry, I do want to give a warning that we are going to be talking about the movie freely here. So if you haven't seen it yet, you just be warned that there will be some spoilers here. But for me, Waller was one of the things that I really liked about this movie. I thought, first of all, she embodied the character right from the first scene. I thought it was great that they had her eating like this bloody raw steak, like to kind of let you know that she kind of means business. And for me, I agree with the other people that I've been seeing online who said that really Waller was the villain of this movie because she tries to just push her will onto other people, and it's kind of like, you know, their lives don't matter to her. She kind of plays with other people's lives to sort of get what she wants. And really, the main, you know, danger when Enchantress kind of ends up taking over the city and stuff, that was actually Waller's fault. Like, she thought that she had this under control, and she really didn't. She was playing with something. She was playing with fire, and that fire got out of control. And then she's trying to clean up her own mess. And so for me, that's really kind of what the villain was. It was Waller, you know, stepping out of bounds, overreaching, and then making this kind of huge mess where a lot of people died because of her hubris.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. Like, I thought Waller, first of all, as I said before we started recording, the actress did a great job, because I always think of Waller from like the Justice League cartoon or other incarnations in the comic where it's so strong, and her performance was great. It was understated, and I never found myself comparing it to anything else. She just did a good job. And then I liked the way she was portrayed in all of her scenes. As we got to the mystical side of things, as I've said in our other video, it's where it went off the rails for me for a bit. And like, you know, there was even that one scene where she was like being held and possessed by it. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, I think they could have done that still, but spent just a little less time with that part of it. And it would have been cooler to have it be like a big reveal that Waller was like, this is all what I did, you know, like kind of a little more of that and a little less of the portals and things like that. So yeah, I thought she was quite strong for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the fact that she doesn't take any of the guilt on herself, like she never has a moment of acknowledging, like, I kind of overstepped it, or, you know, I thought I had it under control, but I didn't. She never has that moment of kind of realizing her own flaw or her own mistake. And to me, that's like also makes her the villain, that she doesn't seem to recognize her own flaws. And at the, you know, the mid-credit scene at the very end, so again, spoilers are coming, but with Bruce Wayne, there she's kind of asking Bruce Wayne to help cover her butt, but she's not really saying, like, I made this mistake. She's not humble about it. She's just sort of trying to pull somebody else in to cover her butt. And also that scene where it turns out she's in the city and she's really kind of using the squad just to try to save herself to get out of there. And then she just kills those agents because she's like, well, they saw the Suicide Squad. I mean, that's just pretty brutal, and she didn't seem to give it a second thought.
What did you think also of the fact that she kind of alluded to that she knows he's Batman? That is like kind of crazy. I'm like, really? Because if she's like this big person in charge of all this like secret, you know, ops and things like that, she could do a lot with that information to really make things bad for him.
Yeah, and I think to me that's just intriguing that she is not very redeemable, and she has secrets on even like Bruce Wayne. So for me, like, I'm kind of scared of her, you know. And so I liked the character. It's given me a lot to think about. But I think she worked better than the Enchantress part of it. So like Enchantress, I liked her as June Moon, and I liked her as the Smoky Witch.
Yeah.
But once she paired up with her brother, and it became the kind of, you know, taking over the city, and she was doing like her weird dance thing and like the energy beams. That part was not the best.
No, and it's like we said before, for myself, it's about the motivations. There's motivations for Waller. There's motivations for Enchantress even. There's motivations for Rick Flag, as generic of a character, wasn't it? But, you know, the bad guy, the brother, what's his motivation in the movie? It just kind of lost me there, you know?
Yeah, Incubus, he kind of just like obeyed his sister immediately. Like, he was pretty two-dimensional for that.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, and we talked about in the other video, but and you brought it up here that, when Enchantress and her brother start taking over the city, it doesn't seem like a good match to the Suicide Squad's skills.
No, and I forgot to mention this joke too. When that portal thing opened the sky, I'm like, am I watching Ghostbusters? What's going on? It's kind of funny because that movie came out this summer too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it took me out of it a little bit. Like I really liked the design of the witch character so much better than when she
Yes.
was like the mystical, goddess or whatever you call it in the middle of the
Yeah.
city.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and she had the eye, she was turning people into the eye creatures. And I think the concept of like the eyeball, guys, I think you did need somebody for the Suicide Squad to fight as they're kind of making their way through the city. So I
Yeah.
was okay with the concept of it, but the design didn't quite
Yeah.
nail it. The
No, it was a little
design,
too dark and not a lot
yeah.
going on. Kind of reminded me of a bad cutscene in a video game. Some of those parts where it was just a little too rushed, and they could have had a better villain to kind of fight them one on one. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, another one that's kind of in the villain category, and he was the side plot for the movie, is the Joker. So we have a new Joker here. We had the side story of him trying to be, reconnected to Harley. So what did you think of this take on the Joker?
Well, I liked his performance because it was going to be hard to live up to Heath Ledger, and even though it was a long time ago, the Jack Nicholson performance is so iconic too. But I thought he did well. He made it his own. I think it was kind of like halfway, 60% to what that Grant Morrison style of the Joker was, and I think he should have just went the whole way to that. Got rid of the tattoos and the teeth, and just shaved his heads on the side a bit. Had that green hair, and just been really thin, kind of like a David Bowie style, which I've heard that's what he was kind of modeling it after, and just even maybe an explanation for the teeth, something like that, to bite a guy's ear or something, because the Joker's. He would do that. So I liked his delivery and his performance. I liked the parts with Harley Quinn, parts about how he pushes her into the vat of acid, and then he does too. And it was kind of different, that part, because it looked like his hands weren't always white. But I was talking to someone about it, and he's like, well, maybe it's supposed to be that he jumped in the acid the first time a long time ago, and he has to do it again, and it was symbolic. So I like those parts a lot. I just think that maybe that style choice wasn't the best, kind of a hip hop Joker in ways. But I'd like to see more with Jared Leto doing it. And definitely, that they were saving Batman and Joker having a confrontation for another movie. So that should be pretty good.
Yeah, I liked the performance as well. I mean, I think every scene that he was in, I was definitely had my eyes on him, and I was not
Yeah,
sure what he was going to do. Like, so he
sure.
definitely drew me in as an audience member to
Yeah,
really watch him, which is kind of, that's what you're expecting from a good performance.
yeah,
I was okay with the kind of style that they went with the character, kind of like a gangster dance club mob boss type of Joker, who we've seen similar things like that in the comics, but in the movies they've never really gone with that direction of it.
right.
So I thought that was cool. And I really liked the scene that you mentioned about, Harley and him going into the acid
Yeah,
again. Because I liked how they had the Joker walk away. Like, basically the way I took it was that the Joker was just playing a joke and manipulating Harleen Quinzel to get his freedom. And then he was taking this joke even further to, like, I'm going to convince this woman to, like, throw herself into the acid. And then he's like, his joke was complete and he was walking away, but then he realized, wait a minute, like, I've actually fallen in love with her too, I've
right.
not just made her fall in love with me. And so then
Yeah.
he realizes, like, I've been sucked into this joke. And so then
Hmm.
he, like, falls in and joins her. Like, to me, that was just a really cool moment and a really cool unspoken kind of take on their relationship.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I also think that it goes to show you that this incarnation of the Joker, like in some versions of the comic, isn't as crazy as he looks. Because I think part of it is that he pushes her into that acid because she will love him forever. She already did anyways, but she was obsessed with him. But if she looks like him and is a freak like him, that is even one more reason they're like bonded for life. And it worked well. Like it really did. And I mean, one maybe little nitpicky thing, maybe those little tattoos he has would go off if he jumps in the acid again. Then I might get my regular Joker.
Another scene that I really liked with him was with Common, where they're sitting down in the nightclub and the Joker is like offering Harley to him.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, right?
Well, yeah, because I was just like Common, where I'm like, I do not know what Joker's gonna do. Like, am I supposed, like, Common is thinking, am I supposed to accept this gift? Am I supposed to reject it because it's Joker's? Like, Common, his character, had no idea how to behave
No.
because he was so scared of Joker. And as an audience member, I also did not know what Joker was. I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't
Yeah.
know really what Joker was going to do. So like, I liked the way that they played that scene out as well. So
Yeah,
I mean, several really good Joker scenes. Even though he wasn't,
yeah,
the main part of the movie, he was definitely a side part of this movie.
totally. And he had the creep factor down, so I think maybe in a different setting, because they've put this out there. This is the Joker. This is Batman. So we need to get some of this backstory with Jason Todd or even Dick Grayson. I need it in a flashback eventually or something, because they're major points in the Batman mythos and they haven't showed it in a movie before. I need to know why these two are at each other, because the Nolan films, really, if you think about it, that might be one thing where their version of the Joker, which everyone loved, they missed out on that reason why Batman would hate the Joker even more, and they can really play with that in this. So I hope they don't miss that opportunity.
And you did catch with Harley on her introduction, like splash page information that Jason Todd was referenced in Harley Quinn's intro, right?
That's right. Yeah. So it said something to the effect of killed Robin or killed Jason Todd. And it's like, I was like, I did not see that. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? And then I was like, wow. And then I looked it up online and a bunch of people saw it too. And it's like, as I was just saying, that's a huge thing. They cannot just kind of have a 2-second scene or something in these movies. They need to do something with it. And I'm hoping that really it's something that the Joker was the one who would, pretty much killed him, but maybe she just delivered the final blow or something like that. That I'd be okay with. But I'd really like to see kind of some version of Death in the Family done, because it's a pretty huge event in the DC universe. So why gloss over it for the movies, right?
Yeah. And we have Ben Affleck, pretty far along on the Batman solo film, so maybe he is going to kind of go back. There's this question of, is it going to be back in time to something with Joker earlier, or is it going to be continuing forward in the timeline?
Yeah, totally. I think it's such an important part of Batman's mythos that's never been shown on screen. And why not do a few flashback scenes? They could always CG his face a little bit. They did it with Robert Downey in one of the Iron Man movies, or it might have been in Civil War to make him look a little bit younger, and it worked fine.
Yeah, and they aged Ben Affleck up a little bit for BVS, so all they need to do is go back to his regular age, and he's already, taken a few years off.
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, the villains, there's kind of the good stuff and then the not so good. For me, with this movie, it's kind of like what people choose to focus on. If you want to be negative about this movie, then you would focus on Enchantress when she's dancing in the energy beam. But if you want to, or you would focus on like that Joker had some scenes cut out. But if you want to be positive about this movie, then you can focus on Waller, or you can focus on the Joker scenes that we did get, which some of them were, I think, really great. And I think this is an intriguing new take on the Joker that I want to see more of, which is a good sign. So for me, it's all about like, your perspective, and do you want to be positive or do you want to be negative, and you can kind of take your pick.
Yeah, and I would say too, the Joker and Batman were used well in this movie to the way that less is more. Because shouldn't have been at the very beginning when we got those 2 Batman cameos really quick. I was like, wow, is Batman going to be the reason all these guys got caught? But they were smart. They got in and out of there and kept it at that. But less is more, and it leaves it open for more things for a sequel to this movie, and then in the Batman universe as well.
Right. Okay, well, thanks for talking with me about it. Some good, some bad. And again, for me, I liked the movie. I see some flaws in it. I see some places it could have been better, but I see a lot of good stuff, so I'm kind of just trying to focus on that good stuff now, and I hope to see it again, maybe in a week or so when I'm processing it some more.
Yeah, I would definitely see it down the line again, and as I said on our other video, it wasn't great to me, but I still had a fun time watching it.